will be joined today. Let me first thank you all, because we are 40 and coming more attendance to this webinar, which is really a great number on a Monday at this time of the day. So let me briefly say hello on behalf of the Chambers of Commerce, who really did a great job to get us together. A big thank you to our two speakers today, Vanessa and Koji, also who are really busy. For Koji, I guess it's the weekends. There's no weekend because the weekend is match day, and Vanessa is really busy. She just wrote a novel, and she will show it, talk about it at the end if we have time. That would be great. So we kind of are here 24/7, but yes, just about the thematic, the new era for the sports industry, the title of this conference. You know, when we thought about it, it was the end of July. We were right into the pandemic. Some sports were starting again. J-League was surely trying to start again, but we had many uncertainties. I'm a sports journalist. I cover the Tour de France and also the tennis, Roland Garros. At that time, we didn't know if they would happen. They did happen in September. But we were really all quite afraid, maybe not afraid, but there was a part of unknown, and we didn't know what to look for. And I think that really early in that stage, Rakuten and FC Tokyo had a clear vision of what they were doing and what they wanted to do. So that we thought with Mario Zaki and Nicolas Bernardel of the Chamber of Commerce that it would be a great inspiration to have them talk about it. And we set it up for August, and lots of you were on holidays. Hope you had great holidays, and now we can come back, and it's even more relevant now that we advance. So our two speakers today will make a short presentation of what's the hottest thing in their own now field and actuality, and then I would take some questions. Let me remind you that you can send the questions by chat. It will go directly to our host, Marie, who is not appearing on screen, but that she will receive it, and then she will forward it to us. And so depending on how many questions I received, I think we are looking at half the conference with a presentation and a bit of feedback from me, and then to have questions from you, and we'll try our best to answer. So lady first, we'll start with Vanessa. Vanessa, thank you very much for being with us tonight and to share your experience. I think you have many things you're doing, but I'll let you talk and say what you really want to talk about tonight, and we're all ears.
Thank you, Florent, and thanks for joining, everybody. I'm looking at the names, and there's at least 2 people I know. So hola Vicente and hi Nick, thanks for joining. And then everybody else, it's a pleasure to meet you. I hope we can meet in person next time. This year has been one of these where we just keep meeting online, but I trust that we will get to a better place. So thank you very much for joining. So I'm Vanessa. I work at Rakuten. I lead the global digital strategy. So I work with a social team and I work with a creative team. And our goal is to make stories about Rakuten and stories about our services that we have in many countries across the world. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is a project that we worked on for almost, well, it's been ongoing for about 6 months. It's called The Big Picture. Instead of speaking too much about it, I will ask Marie to play a short video just to make the setting of what it is that I want to speak to you about. So thanks again for joining, and yes, please play.
The FC Barcelona Anthem brings us together. It matters not where we come from, whether it's the South or the North. Now we all agree, one flag unites us in brotherhood. A symbol at the heart of Barcelona, Camp Nou is home to FC Barcelona, the players and fans around the world. The big picture is a historic sign of support by thousands of fans who sent photos and left their mark on Camp Nou. Fans around the world became part of Barca like never before. The big picture is a dream come true. To all our fans around the world, thank you.
Thank you, Marie, for playing that. I don't know if anybody who is here listening today joined this campaign by sending a picture. If so, maybe you want to do a thumbs up with the reactions at the bottom. Oh, Matsushita-san, thank you. Nakashijima-san, thank you. I'm just going to scroll over. Great. Very happy. Thank you for your support. You, amongst all the other Barca fans, are the very, very target of this campaign. So thank you for sending your pictures. So what was this campaign all about? Rakuten, as a brand, we aim to be fantastic. And when I say fantastic, I mean fan-tastic. We want to be fantastic in everything we do, which means that we want to put fans at the very center. So when we thought about what can we do this COVID time, what can we do? How can we bring people together? We really thought about, of course, we had to go digital. We had to use some of the spaces that Barca offers us. So we have the big facade at Camp Nou. And the goal was to collect thousands and thousands and thousands of pictures so that you could all have sort of a chance of a lifetime opportunity to maybe be on Messi's face, you could be on Piqué's arm, you could be on Ter Stegen's nose, maybe, who knows. So a big fan-centric initiative. And feel free to pop some questions into Marie, and if you have any questions while I speak. Rakuten is not new in sports, but we're basically kind of new in this very, very active fan engagement space. And I would say the big picture is a landmark activation for us as a brand. And it started out in the summer. So roughly in June, we started gathering a lot of pictures from fans. So we had a landing page, we had a website, and we knew that we had to get a lot of pictures from a lot of fans. So we aimed at fans in basically in 8 key countries, and they are Japan. So we had these 2 from Japan, thank you. We had Taiwan, Spain, France, UK, Germany, and the US. But they were 8 key countries. But we actually had fans sending pictures from more than 150 countries. And again, it was really for them to be part of the facade of Camp Nou. But it was also for us to be able to engage with fans and to be able to reconnect with the fans after the campaign as well. And again, just a very, I think, authentic way of connecting with fans across the world by offering the biggest commercial space for Rakuten, which is that big wall at Camp Nou. We really wanted to offer that to give fans a space to really be shown. So I don't know if there's any questions while I'm speaking. I would love to see if there's anything from the group. If not, maybe I could pass on the ball. And before I pass on the ball over to Ishii-san, we did, as a brand, we did announce over I think at the end of last week, we did announce that Rakuten is extending the partnership with Barça, with FC Barcelona for 1 more year. So we will be doing a lot more great things as main global partner and global innovation and entertainment partner of FC Barcelona. So hopefully there's going to be a lot more to come, and I hope that the big picture campaign is the start of something a lot bigger than just one campaign. So again, thanks for listening, and any questions, please pop them, and I hope to answer them later.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. Before passing the mic to Koji-san, just you said that you had the idea over the summer, and I understand that lots of your fans are in Asia and they can't travel, and we don't know when they will be able to travel. Could you just share what was the most challenging thing? Was it to put everything together in a short amount of time because you wanted to be ready in September, or did you have any stories about that? Or?
Sure. I think the challenges we came across were some of the same challenges across all the different industries. Of all of a sudden you're all working from home, you're not seeing each other, you're not speaking to each other on a daily basis. So trying to put this kind of huge activation together when everybody is like me, I'm in my washitsu here in my room. People, I mean, and this is people across marketing, across accounting, legal, lawyers. You have agency in Barcelona, you have FC Barcelona, which itself is a very big club, and they are also working from home, right? So I think one of the challenges, yes, was to get it all together in this Corona challenging times. But I would say we probably accomplished it even better because it really united us as a team. So I think being apart has kind of united us even more. And I do think a campaign by the name of The Big Picture, it's more than what it is. It's more than just that wall at Camp Nou at the end. We gave fans this sort of landmark legacy memory. So I'm very, very happy and very proud to be part of this.
Okay, I have another question. I have a question from Guillaume Massard, but Guillaume, we will keep that for the end because it's very interesting. And Vanessa, I wanted to ask, I don't know exactly I mean, Rakuten is a sponsor of Barcelona, but I don't know all the aspects of of the contract and the relationship. So would you say that Barcelona came to Rakuten to have such an initiative because you are a very advanced and proficient in such thing as digital media, digital technologies, and they came to you and say, how can we activate our fan base around the world? You have a knowledge, let's join? Or did you suggest by being creative and say, why don't we do that? How do you know how it worked?
Yes, so I would say the idea actually came from Rakuten to use this asset in the contract in the best way possible. And of course, we worked, I mean, very closely with the Barca team. But ideas-wise, we really wanted to try something outstanding. And the idea came earlier, but it was also, things got a bit delayed, things took more time because of Corona, etc. So I would say the idea came from us, but the execution was like really, in partnership with FC Barcelona.
Because we have another 2 or 3 minutes on your own part before I hand the mic to Ishii-san. So I'll just take the question from Guillaume Massa, who says, why did Rakuten decide to sponsor a soccer team and not in another sports? I will say to, I think you can answer, Vanessa, but actually Rakuten is doing many other teams, not only soccer. But I guess for you outside Japan, it's your marquee brand. Can we say that?
Yes, so thank you for the question. I think your name is Massard. Thank you for the question. Like Florent said, we have been in sports for about 15 years already. We own Vissel Kobe, which is a club in the J League. We own Rakuten Eagles, which is a baseball team. So sports has been part of what we've been doing for longer than FC Barcelona. The big decision to partner with FC Barcelona was to build on the Rakuten brand awareness, like make a big bang in the sports scene. Southern Europe was one of the key markets. So they're partly strategic because of the ecosystem that we have and how we want to basically get people into the ecosystem and using Barcelona to throw our name out there so that we can start the brand building was one of the main reasons we signed. And we're in year 4 right now, but year 1, year 2 was just about building the Rakuten brand. But now we're kind of going even further. I mean, really trying to explain who are we as a brand, who are the other 70 business units that we have. So FC Barcelona was a marketing platform as such to be able to tell our optimism and our empowerment stories.
Okay, and Koji-san, just allow me to take a little bit more time because actually we get lots of questions for Vanessa. I will keep some for the end if I can cross them, but if you allow me, Ishii-san, I'll just ask this one. So Yuichiro Nakajima in England, he's asking Vanessa, how about the return on investment in those times of pandemic? You just said, Vanessa, that it's a good platform for you to talk about your other partnerships and businesses, but how do you measure the effectiveness of such a campaign? Is it as effective as if it was not in a pandemic time, or what would you have to say?
Yeah, I think the question of ROI is a very hot topic, especially now that all the numbers are being thrown about. Like, you don't have the same benchmarks now that you did in the past. Like, you don't have people visiting the stadium. You have more people watching on TV than watching live, etc., etc. I think we did well with the KPIs for this campaign because we, at the end, we wanted people to be more aware about the Rakuten ecosystem. And we got, every fan who submitted a picture also created or used their existing Rakuten ID. And a Rakuten ID is basically almost like a passport that you can use like across all the different services in the Rakuten ecosystem. So in that sense, I think we were able to hit our KPIs and make a good return on our investment. But the numbers were different than they would have been in a different year because of the benchmarking was also different.
Okay, that's very interesting. So that means that you're not interested in how many people participated, but more in the engagement that they had, or?
Yes, I think it's two-way. I mean, it's partly about engaging with fans, because by engaging with a fan, you build a relationship. And I think any purchases, any final sale will be based on some kind of relationship that you had between the buyer and the seller, right? So I do think we did hit our KPIs pretty well, and we were on top of all the engagement we got, which is pretty amazing. I mean, still we post on social media now and we get good engagement. On top of this, we also hit the commercial objectives. So it's win-win. And the PR story above was amazing. I mean, we had quite a lot of Rakuten in headlines in Spanish media, especially. So PR, earned media, in terms of commercial goals, I think we hit KPIs and we hit engagement pretty well.
Okay, thank you very much, Vanessa, for your insights, and we will get back to other discussions, inspiring discussions, just after Koji-san's presentation. So
thank you.
Thank you for all your insights. Ishii-san, thank you for being there with us. I just wanted to mention to everyone, people who looked at your profile, I personally found very interesting the fact that you were an advisor for the Japan Sports Agency. And I think we talked about it a lot. You have specialized in some of the sports or some of the sports business who came pretty much into a dead end, and how can they rebrand themselves? And I think that that's really interesting, and I hope that throughout your presentation we understand, because honestly, from my own journalist point of view, the J League has up and downs, but there are some clubs that are really trying to be creative, especially the Tokyo clubs, Verdi and FC Tokyo. So I let you talk, and I might have quite a lot of questions for you at the end.
Okay, thank you. Okay, nice to see everybody, and thank you today's webinar. So, okay, I want to start my presentation. Wait a minute. Florent, can you watch my slide? Is it okay?
Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's okay. First, I want to introduce my club. So my club's name is FC Tokyo, established in 1999, and one of the biggest club in Japan. So last year, in 2020 season, Japan League season, we were the second winner. We lost our last game, so we can't get our first championship, but we got good results last year. And we have a lot of fans, and average is 31,000 fans welcoming to stadium in a game last year. Yes. And this is our club team. And so one of our club specialty is our owner company. So there's a lot of owner company and the owner sponsors. One is Tokyo Gas. Tokyo Gas is the biggest infrastructure company in Japan, and NS is our company. And Shimizu is a big construction company in Japan. And Mitsubishi Corporation and Mitsui is a big training company in Japan. So our club owned by some of the biggest blue chip company in Japan. So we have a strong business network in Tokyo. That's our special point of our club. So now, so when I was a business consulting company, so many of Japanese company want to go global, and some of foreign company want to go into a Tokyo market. So in that insight, I started a global business in FC Tokyo. So our role is expand partnership with professional football club outside Japan. So you know, so in football industries, Manchester City expands their network to globally. They have 9 or 10 global club networks. So we think it will going more and more networking will expand in globally. So we start expand partnership with other clubs outside Japan. And we want to develop new business in global, and we want to support sponsors global business with our network. Okay, let's go to the next slide. We're just starting to expand our network, but luckily we have one EU partnership club. It's a Saint Troiden. It's a Belgian football team. So this team was owned by a Japanese company. So we have a strong relationship with Saint Troiden. And we already have a strong partnership with Southeast Asia. I want to speak about more. We have a strong partnership with Bangkok United. It's a Thailand professional soccer club in Bangkok. And Persija Jakarta, it's a big professional team in Indonesia, Jakarta. And luckily, we have a strong business partnership with Saigon FC in this year, May. It's in Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City. So we now expanding a strong partnership globally with a largest city club in each countries. And Bangkok and Jakarta and Ho Chi Minh City and Tokyo, these cities have 10 million people, over 10 billion people around the city. It's a big city. And each team owned by a conglomerate company, a big company in each country where is an owner. And each team is a top 3 club. So this is what we want to do, expand our business. For example, if some company outside Japan, for example, French company or a German company or a company in England, if they want to enter into a Tokyo market, we can support to do business in Tokyo because we have a strong business network with football. And we can also accelerate global business expansion from Japan. And we can create a new business between our 2 markets. And we can expose a lot of knowledge or sponsor right. Okay, and next, I want to talk about.
Can I interrupt you just for 1 second? Can you go back to the slide just before that you mentioned?
Okay, here.
Yeah. When you say if there is a foreign company that wants to join, you can give them a platform. You're talking about, for example, let's say that a French company becomes a sponsor for FC Tokyo. So because they would have some visibility on your uniform or through your marketing team, you give them visibility in Japan, and you offer them your own fan access. That's what you mean?
Yeah, that's right. So, for example, one European company want to make their brand expanding in Japan. It's an electronic company, so they want to make Japanese people to know their brand. So one idea is to use our club sponsorship program with brand to expand their brand. And the second is to use our business network with FC Tokyo, because so in official game in our stadium, there comes a lot of executives of our owners' companies. For example, there's our vice president of Tokyo Gas and vice president of Kiraboshi Banking. And also here comes there comes executives of Shimizu Construction Company and the Mitsubishi Company. So you can meet a lot of Japanese companies executives in our games. Just I think we can support a French company if they want to enter into the Japan market.
Oh yeah, okay. So that's very interesting. That means that you don't, it's not the old style sponsorship where you only get visibility, but
yeah,
kind of give them some free access to your own other sponsors, partners. And because you are all together within this, they could get easier conversation, and you put them in contact with CEOs of other sponsors. That's really interesting. And what about if you could just go back, sorry, one slide back to the Asian one? Yeah, for example, those three clubs here, it's more on a sports development point of view. Or what do you get some players from them, and you send some youth teams over there to participate to tournaments? What is the relationship? Just briefly, if you could highlight a little bit.
Okay. One partnership is to exchange our players and their players. It's one, and we exchange knowledge for school or knowledge for academy. So we send our coaches to each clubs. And the second, and the third, we want to expand. So, for example, one example is Nichiban. Nichiban is a medical kit company in Japan. They want to expand their market in Thailand. So we introduced them to our Bangkok United president, because Bangkok United president owns Bangkok United, and they have a lot of 7-Eleven franchise stores in Bangkok. So we introduced Nichiban leaders to our Bangkok United, and they can expand their business market in Bangkok. So that is a concrete example on relationship between FC Tokyo and Asian football club.
Thank you very much. That's very interesting. So I let you go on. I don't interrupt you anymore. Thanks.
It's okay. So on the next slide, I want to introduce game management and the COVID-19 situation. So in Japan, we are no more lockdown now. We restarting economy, but in stadium we have exact rule to welcome our supporters. And so, for example, we have thermometer checking. Every staff or every supporters and every fans have to check thermometers in a gate, in entrance gate. And like this, every supporters coming to a stadium, we have to check the body temperature in the gate. And also, we have to keep social distance before a shop or lines. And we put a lot of sanitization alcohol in every place, in toilet or in lines on this. And we have our face sealed and always mask on. And we sanitize everything before match. That's a situation our business now. Also, we have a negative side from COVID-19. For example, we have to stop business days 125 days, and we have to refund ERA ticket. So ERA ticket is one of our big revenue resource for us. Our ticketing income down. We have to spend additional cost for product infection. We decrease direct touch point with our funds. A lot of negative side, but we have a big positive side. For example, in our team, we can connect stronger because of the COVID-19 crisis. For example, our board member connects stronger and our staff, so OBs, funds, and crops, and league and crops. Our business is getting stronger, I think. And we can do innovation for new business. For example, the JRIG is not so good to use our digital, but in this under our situation of COVID-19, we can progress as digital transformation. And we can do many e-meeting requests from EU and North America and South America because they want to business in Japan and Asia. We are never activity for long-term important issues. For example, one thing we can do is we can do our online. We can do our online program. And here is our players always collaborate with doing YouTube programs, and we can do a strong. We can make a new strong partnership with Saigon FC in this May.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Does that mean that your direction was very quick to reallocate the budget to those kind of new ventures? That you could make the YouTube channel, that you could make your own TV, and would you say that the president was very fast giving you new green lights to act? Because it seems to me that you're taking a lot of new initiative in very small amount of time.
Yeah, that's right. So of course, Japanese people are sometimes conservative to change or to use digital technology. But in this crisis, under the crisis, the Japanese can change acceleratory.
Okay, that's really interesting to see that when maybe that's one of the particularity of Japan is when there is a big kind of adversity, suddenly it evolves. And yeah, well, it's very, very interesting. Thank you. Please
Thank you.
go on.
Thank you. It's the last slide for me. So a lot of foreign countries outside Japan have a strong interest for Japan and the Asian market than before. From April to October, we got many contacts. For example, we had 11 new Japanese companies. They want to do business in Vietnam because in Vietnam, it's only a single account of infections now. So Vietnam make a big success to protect COVID-19. So many companies want to expand their business in Vietnam. So and we make a strong connection between Saigon FC and Ho Chi Minh City. So we can support a lot of Japanese company, and Next, I had 87 e-meeting with companies outside Japan because many business leaders in Europe, they have to stay in home. So they have to expand their business on online meeting. So we can get many chance to connect with a European company. And it's surprisingly, I have 800 new connection requests on LinkedIn. It's a very surprising. So before COVID-19, I can't get such a big request from foreign countries. It's surprising. And we start 6 new partner negotiations starting now because many European club doesn't have interesting before COVID-19, but now they have a strong interest in Asian market because they cannot do business in Europe. So they want to find good partners in Asia. So we want to be a good partner with European country and the European football club. Okay, that's our process. That is all our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Koji-san. Thank you. Maybe you can turn off the presentation and I put back my video.
Okay.
While you do that, what I really found amazing, and maybe Vanessa, you can come back too, because from now what I really found amazing, because okay, I know you're very dynamic and I admire all your initiatives, but for example, those American soccer clubs, they have a lot of choice in the J League. I mean, I guess I wonder why they chose FC Tokyo, and even the Japanese companies. You told us that they have a genuine interest in the Vietnamese market. They know that you are there, but to have the idea to go through a sports club to access a new business market is really a great choice. But I'm surprised they found you in the first place. How do you advertise yourself? Do you say we are more than I'm not mimicking the Més than a club of Barcelona, but you say we are more than a soccer club? We're also a business partner. Come to us with all your ideas. It's not only about football; it's about people. How do you make the pitch to have such how do I call it, attraction? Can you hear me, Koji?
Yeah, well, that was for
Yeah.
Koji. Okay, right, cool.
Yeah, it's
okay.
For you too, but yeah.
It's okay. Okay. One is in Asian club. So in Asian country, if you want to do business in Asia, you need to connect with business leaders in Asia. So they are very rich and very wealthy, and they have a lot of companies. So because in normally we can't meet with business leaders in Vietnam or in Thailand or in Indonesia, but they have a football club and they always come to their games in stadium. So if we introduce someone who want to do business in Indonesia or in Vietnam, we can introduce because we have football partnership, and that's the reason why we want to start this business.
Thank you, Koji. Vanessa, actually, it's a bit of the same question, but to answer Guillaume Massard's early question, you're doing. I mean, I'm working indirectly with you guys at the Rakuten Japan Open Tennis, which I think gives you a great visibility, usually in autumn, because all the tennis fans around the world are watching the Asian tour. Now you have Barcelona, you have NBA franchise. Of course, you have your own franchise in Japan, Vissel Kobe and Rakuten Eagles in Sendai. What's the balance? Do you start to be you want to be consistent in Japan? I mean, you're in charge of global partnership, but what's the ratio between how much engagement you want in Japan and how much you want outside of Japan? Is it two different things? How do you see the development?
Sure. Thanks for the question. So I would say we have different challenges in different markets. In Japan, 98% of the Japanese know who we are. We do not have a brand awareness problem in Japan. And therefore, we don't need to be as aggressive in Japan as we need to be elsewhere. If we want to build our brand in the other 7 markets, then those are the markets that we need to look at. And sports properties could be one avenue to go in that direction. I mean, we did, like I said before, we did put our name on the map with signing FC Barcelona and the Golden State Warriors almost at the same time around 2016. But again, that was a brand awareness gig, and now we're moving in further into a service awareness. So we're going more from a brand awareness into within the Rakuten ecosystem to try to storytell more about the different services. So again, back to the question, we will go after partnerships that serve our needs in a business sense. And in that case, we are way ahead in Japan with brand and services awareness. We have an established ecosystem in Japan. You have Rakuten Mobile, but you also have your bank, you have your, you use our recipes, you use RTV maybe to watch the NBA games, right? So Japan has an established ecosystem, which we don't have in the other countries yet.
Okay, that's interesting, and yeah, that's a big challenge, and I think it's really the beginning of the adventure for you guys. I want also Ishii-san, Koji, to, you know, in your presentation, it was quite striking, and I should remind our listeners that in Japan, the business formula roughly is more on tickets, income, and all interaction, physical interaction, than say when you go to the United States in the NBA and NFL or in tennis. ESPN spends $10 million to buy TV rights. So it's like the US Open tennis. You do not need to have fans because you get all the money by TV incomes, which is not the case in Japan. So there comes my question that came just, I got 2, but the first one is, now that you have changed your business mix dramatically, how much % of your revenue roughly comes from Japan, and how much you're trying to get from overseas? Are you really trying to get some new source of revenues from overseas? Like maybe at some point you could buy a sister club, or what's the project right now for incomes regarding to the foreign market?
Okay. Okay. Starting from me. So okay, nice question. So now we have about 5 or 10% income from foreign country. So one is a sponsorship from foreign country, and the second is players exporting income from foreign clubs, but we want to expand our business about 30% from foreign country and 70% from Japan. So that's one thing is we want to expand our global sponsorship. So like Rakuten do FC Barcelona, but we want to do vice versa. So for example, French company or a European company make a global sponsor with FC Tokyo, because Tokyo is a very familiar city name all over the world. So we think Tokyo is a big crowd name for us. The second is we want to build a new business model because we want to make a lot of like YouTube program, because now young people don't watch TV in Japan. So, and in Asia also, younger people watching YouTube or some streaming video on smartphone. So we want to expand smartphone business to our foreign countries outside Japan. Yes, that's my answer. Yeah.
Thank you. Very interesting. Actually, when you say outside Japan, I will rebound to Vanessa, because I do understand that your brand value and name in Japan is recognized and used through different medias by all different generations. However, I think that when you're trying to build a global image, even if you want the people abroad to know you, you also want to, at some point, to send personnel, or that, you know, Japanese people and Japan as a country as a whole opens up. And, you know, because there are very few people like you to do that job, and you want many more. So I think lately, unfortunately, in the last 10 years, Japan has gone a little bit backward. It's a bit of an autarky again. When I started as a journalist, all the Japanese famous players were in the biggest teams of the world, the New York Yankees, AS Roma, F1 teams, you name it. And now, as Koji said, the young people, they don't really watch the international programs, or they don't read international newspapers or magazines. How do you bring the Japanese people also to have a curiosity towards what you're doing? Because it's fabulous that you sponsor Barcelona, but how can they understand how incredible it is?
Yeah, it's a big question. I think, let me give you one example of how I think me, Koji, I mean, yourself, I mean, I think most people are on this call are probably one nationality and living in another country. A lot of us are mixed up, right? And it comes with a lot of, you know, responsibility, I think, to have these roles of maintaining where you're coming from, but also, you know, inputting, you know, the new cultural things that are going on. And one way where we really wanted to spotlight the Japanese was we made a film 2 years ago, in the summer of 2018. We had Rakuten Cup in Japan. So this was, we invited FC Barcelona, Chelsea Football Club, and Vissel Kobe. And it was a 3-team tournament. And I was in charge of content around this event, and where I came from, I really wanted to make this a legacy. I wanted to make sure we filmed this thing, and we followed fans from the 3 different teams, fans that are based in Japan, and we made a story about fans and fandom in Japan, and the name of the film is The Fans. It's available on Rakuten Sports YouTube, amongst other channels. But this was really our way of like exporting Japanese fandom to the rest of the world. I mean, we know the Japanese are amazing with their manners at the end of the game, picking up the trash, etc., etc. So I think the world's spotlight has been on Japan for many reasons. I mean, with the Olympics, that didn't happen, hopefully will happen next year. But I think we in these positions we have a possibility to showcase Japan. So I think it's not only about bringing what's abroad into Japan, but I think we should also take Japan and throw it out there to the world and make the Japanese proud themselves.
Thank you. And I think it's a good baton touch for Koji, because I have a question here that says, do you send FC Tokyo players abroad for development? So I guess players means junior players, of course, not transfer. I remember, I mean, you had the sensational Kubo with FC Tokyo for a while, and going back and forth between Spain and
right.
Japan. Is that also part of the strategy that you would really aggressively develop your soccer school and soccer formation to send good players to the world for development? And how do you look into, I'm back into the sports angle, but how is that also a priority?
Yeah, that's right. So now, in this season, we lost two good players. For example, one of Kento Hashimoto, he is exposing to Russian team, and the other is Seimuroya. Seimuroya is going to Germany team. So now, Japanese good football player want to go abroad to make a career outside Japan. So we need to build a good career step with a good relationship between global football clubs network, and that means, so in other means. Many Thailand players, many Vietnam players, and many Indonesian players want to play in J League, and they want to step up from J League to Belgian League or Portugal clubs. So we want to be some kind of good step to global market. And sometimes, sometimes they go to our team and then go into a European club. And sometimes, for example, so Nagatomo or Kubo or Buto, they are now playing in Europe, but we want to back to FC Tokyo, and they want to do their career ending in FC Tokyo, because that will be a new win-win relationship between player and our club. Yes, we see. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Ishii-san. To all the listeners, because we still have 20 plus people with us. I think we can extend until 6:15, maybe 6:20 at the latest. So if you have any questions, you can type and send them to the host, Marie, and I will decode it. In the meantime, just asking again to Vanessa, I know you're not the head of resources or recruiting, but I'm kind of curious, because a way to change the culture in Japan and to get everybody to be more international, creative, especially when you're talking about global partnership, is have a kind of a cosmopolitan team. In your section, how many Japanese staff, how many foreign staff? I don't know if you're allowed to answer my question.
Sure, I think I can answer it. So I lead a team of a total 12 people, and we are from 10 different countries.
Okay.
So
wow. That's great.
It is great, and we have Japanese amongst this team, but I think you may know that Rakuten has been at the forefront of globalizing. We started this Englishnization program back about 15 years ago, where all employees, including the Japanese, including no matter what nationality you were, you had to get a certain TOEIC score. And I wasn't there at the time, but I hear it was pretty grueling times for a lot of Japanese older, salarymen who had to really pick up their English talent. So yeah, Rakuten is a good case of really globalizing, but like from the inside out. You can't just globalize and bring in one foreigner. Like you need, it's more than that. You need to like globalize from the inside out. So I think it's basically blood, sweat, and tears. But I do think a lot of Japanese companies would benefit from opening up even more to hiring, people like myself. But it's also our responsibility to pick up Japanese, to learn the customs here. I mean, it's both ways at the end.
When you say blood, sweat, and tears, you mean that sometimes for the Japanese staff to accelerate its adaptation to having to speak in English, communicate emails in English, and getting into a brainstorming where 10 different nationalities come up with their own charisma and sometimes indelicacy, or I don't know. The tough part is to have all of a sudden the entire world in the same room, or
I think like what I referred to with that comment was more a lot of, at the time, business had been done in Japanese most of the time, and then there's a big corporate but very strategic decision to turn people's mindsets around, that even if you're in a meeting with maybe 5 Japanese but one foreigner, then most of the meetings do happen in English. So the effort, there needs to be a lot of effort, both up at the very helm at the company of basically who makes the you have to be very bullish to make that decision, but you need to trickle it down like to all levels, young and old, and make sure you have everybody with you, and telling success stories, finding role models on the way. For me, for example, I was the first Westerner who was hired at ASICS back in 2006. So that was me and 600, mostly Japanese, a few Chinese, and a few Koreans at the global headquarters in Kobe. So this, I mean, it was a huge challenge for me, but it also turned into a great advantage, and it became a big milestone in my career. So ASICS opened up to me, but I also opened up and became part of the ASICS family. So it's both ways, and it's really give and take.
Thank you. I have one more question for each of you that arrived. For Koji, I was asked. I think it's Vincent. I don't have you, Vincent, on my list, so maybe you entered at the last moment. So apologize if I don't spell your entire name. Koji, do you think that until now, the common dynamic of big physical events was to have real events, and that we're really going online and less physical contacts? And are you already your entire team is changing its mindset to have less fans in the stadiums, and as you said, how to develop the FC Tokyo TV on a mobile, or how, I mean, we're not here to talk about coronavirus and the pandemic, but because nobody knows, but do you think things will change permanently?
Yes. So one question is that, so one thing we have to think about is so one possibility is if there a vaccine or some kind of good medicine will spread all over the world, but we think the threat of COVID-19 will remain in this in our type of even business, for example, influenza or COVID-19 or SARS, or sometimes other kind of wheels were coming to our business. So we needed to change our business model to a stadium model to online real-time live model. We have to transform our business model, and the second thing is so we want to change our business model in, for example, it's a kind of documentary model. So in all over the world now, the Netflix or Amazon Prime Video expanding their business model. So, for example, in Amazon Prime, All Over Nothing of Manchester City or Tottenham Hotspur. So we want to be, we want to do such kind of documentary business model we want to try.
So here you are. I introduce you, Vanessa.
Yeah, I'll help you.
You can make maybe a documentary on FC Tokyo.
Yeah, no,
Thank you.
it's definitely, I mean, just to touch on that, I think content, I mean, we could tell that from about April onwards, there was like a big void, like content was just not available. You couldn't shoot, you couldn't, I mean, all you did was to use old content, reformatting it. So in this, it was exactly because of this void that we launched the fans documentary during the summer to fill the void and give fans really fan-centric content. I love documentaries too, and it's we do quite a bit of it in my team. So I think Koji-san, it's a good way to go.
Vanessa, I have a very journalistic question from Yuichiro in London. The Financial Times recently reported on the rivalry between Rakuten and SoftBank, referring to the fact that both groups compete in the sports area as well as other business fields, but they are using aggressively the sports platform. So Yuichiro is saying, are you doing better than SoftBank in sports investment? If you allow me, Yuichiro, I would turn the question because I find it a little bit aggressive. I would say, Vanessa, are you aware of a rivalry with another company, which might be SoftBank? And are you watching what they do to do different things, to do better? How does it happen?
Well, I think, I mean, competitor analysis across even across companies in the same business, in different business, I mean, it's part of our job. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Koji, I have another question. I know there was a project for, actually I thought about it because Nakajima-san here in London, I think worked a bit on that project, but in 2027, there's a common project for FC Tokyo and Tokyo Verdy to build a stadium in Shibuya, the new development of the entire area. And I think they kind of had an agreement with Mixi and Yoshimoto Kogyo, and wanting to make a stadium which is kind of a new generation stadium with cinemas. And I mean, it's not new to have malls and hotels and stadiums at the same place. They do it in the States, but in Tokyo, trying to bring sports in the middle of the city, is it still alive? I mean, I think 2027, so you have another 7 years, but is it just a project or is it moving on as we speak?
Yes, so for example, so in Tokyo, so Shibuyaku president want to proceed the project, but in my opinion, we have to think about all over the sporting project, about the stadiums or about the arena because of the COVID-19. And so, of course, you know, so the Tokyo Olympic to changing the schedule, and the mind of people and the thinking of people are changing now. So we we have to rethinking new type of value for people in Japan and the people all over the world. So in my opinion, we have to rethink, or we have to build a new concept to build a new stadium. Yes.
Thank you. My last question, sorry, I took a lot of your time, but the last question is also very interesting, coming again from Guillaume Massard, who I can mention is actually the head of the French club sport, the sports committee. So it's a big thanks to Guillaume too that we hold that today. And all the sports committee of the French embassy in Japan is also about the Olympics. So I know that neither FC Tokyo, neither Lactaire are directly involved with the Olympics. So I ask you as both as a person with your experience, and on top of that, because Vanessa, you have a degree in Olympic studies and you were a journalist. So I'm just asking you, first to Koji, is do you share your experience with how to bring safely the fans into the stadium that you showed us in your presentation regarding the COVID-19? Do you share it with the TOCOG, I mean the Olympic organization, or did they send you people to study how you do it, or do you give them a feedback on that?
Yes, sir. In our game, many Olympic community stadium management team is coming and doing research in our official games. Yes, we build our protecting knowledge from COVID-19, and we give all of them to Olympic committee and other sports committee. Yeah.
Okay. And Vanessa, it's a completely different question, but looking beyond the Olympics, because Japanese government has been selling us the Olympics as kind of something that would solve all Japanese problems, and I think it won't, but we hope it happens. And we hope there's a kind of a dynamic. What would you expect from your point of view? I mean, you're already very busy, and I think Rakuten is maybe lucky enough to have invested in many fields that are not depending on the Olympics. But as a Japanese citizen right now, or Tokyo citizen, what are you looking forward to afterwards? Would we create some kind of synergy and people will engage more, especially the young people we've been speaking about? And today we have 2 students from Showa University and Temple University. I thank them very much, because I know it was very tough for them to come here and to listen to that conference. But yeah, well, how do you see the future after the Olympics? Is there a big dynamic coming for all of us?
Yeah, I think a lot of stories are about the road to Tokyo. Like, how are athletes getting ready? How is the Olympic Village being built, etc. Everything is like road to Tokyo. But I think what I'm super excited about is, the road from Tokyo stories. So it's the stories about, a 10-year-old, my son maybe, who watches the baseball game and decides to become a pro in baseball, and therefore he starts studying English so that he can go to the US. I mean, it's the legacy stories, which will happen in families, it'll happen at hospitals, it'll happen like across the entire country. And I think the legacy stories, the road from Tokyo legacy stories, are probably gonna give us that sort of positive push that we've been needing for a couple of years by then.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. It's about. I mean, I don't have children, but for 10 years old and for all the young generations to keep excited about having the world coming here, being amazed of hosting such an event. I think there are lots to come. I personally really want them to happen. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't have that. Before thanking you too, I just Vanessa, you have a little book out, Forget Me Not Forever.
Oh, yeah.
It's very cute. I don't know, I'm not good at digital technology. I want to have it on the screen. I have it in front of me now, but it's a very flowerish, it looks like the Wizard of Oz beginning of the yellow road, except it's a blue road.
Yeah.
What's about it?
Thank you. No, I am a self-published author, or an independent author, indie author. And yes, I decided this year was like the year to make my dream come true. So I published the book in Swedish, in my native tongue, in February March on International Women's Day. And then I decided to translate it into English. So the English version came out on October 1st. And it's the type of story that we need at the moment. It's about friendship. It's about a promise that turns into a journey. And if it's one thing we cannot do at the moment, it's travel. So anybody who is interested, please hook up on LinkedIn or send me an email. And I will tell you more. But yes, it's called Forget Me Not Forever.
So I think you made the most important point. I know that Koji's club had 800 demands of connections for LinkedIn. We won't get as much, but if you all want to connect with us, we are the three of us are on LinkedIn, and I think we if you just mention we listen to the webinar sports. And if you have questions that couldn't fit in right now, I'm sure that Koji and Vanessa within the week would take time to briefly answer your questions.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We are always welcome.
Thank you. So thank you very much, Vanessa and Koji, for your presentations, your cross-cultural, cross-fields insights. I have to thank really everyone, because we still have almost 25 people with us much over the time, and you know, I really think this has to be kind of a connection. So thanks to Vanessa, who reminded us that the recording of this webinar will stay. Mari will tell you, we'll send an email, but will stay on the CCIFJ homepage available. So if you liked it and you want to share it with some other people, please do it. We'll try to advertise on LinkedIn also. So that's about it. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you, Guillaume, for pushing us to do that, and Marie, Nicolas. Well, Koji, I hope I really want to go and see the matches at the stadium too. So let's hope we can see each other, and Vanessa also. There was no Rakuten tennis this year, but next year there are many things to come. So thanks a lot to both of you. Thank you, Koji. And again, see you soon. This is the first sports webinar, but leave us your comments, and probably we'll do even a better job next time. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. We have still left 3 official games in our stadium. So if someone want to visit our stadium and our official games, please message me on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
Kind. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Everyone, free soccer tickets. I mean, one free soccer ticket. Thank you.
It's okay. Thank you very much.